how to tune the lyre. Today we're going to cover how to tune both a modern 7-string lyre and an Anglo-Saxon 6-string lyre. Between these two lyres, it should give you pretty much all of the information you need to know to tune whichever lyre you're playing. We are going to discuss both the traditional method of tuning a 7-string lyre for historical lyres, as well as the recommendations for the modern lyre, as well as, of course, what we will be using in our course, which is the historic one. If you're wondering how we know how the lyre was tuned, in the Lyre Handbook, Mary Savelli talks about the monks who did play the lyre, talking about the hexachord, which is a 6-note scale, and that was what they used for teaching music and would have been what they used for tuning their lyre. Now, that doesn't take into account Viking traditions. However, I have been looking into it and I've found that the scale used for kulning, which is the traditional herding call in Scandinavian countries, also uses pretty much the same scale, only they would start on the 2nd note instead of the 1st note, but they would have the same scale. So, we're pretty confident that this is how they tune their lyres. This is my Anglo-Saxon lyre, and it is tuned G, A, B, C, D, E. The other common tuning is C, D, E, F, G, A. And then on the 7-string lyre, the bottom string is usually an octave lower than the top string. So on this one, it is E, and then G, A, B, C, D, and E. To understand this a little bit better, we are going to go and check out my piano for a minute to look at how we can tell whether our tuning fits with this one, because there are a ton of different ways to tune it. You do not have to start on a C, you do not have to start on a G. What I do recommend is you listen to whoever made your lyre. The length of the string will have a lot to do with the tuning of your lyre, and they say that you can tune it up or down within a couple of notes, although I've found that tuning it more than about half a tone, maybe a tone on my Anglo-Saxon lyre really puts a little bit of strain on it, and I don't like to do it more than that. This one has a little bit more give. If you tune it too much differently than the recommendations, then it can put strain on the body of the lyre and also on the strings, and you end up breaking strings. So you want to watch out for that. Also, before you actually start tuning, it's a good idea to give your lyre a little bit of a rest. It's like a person who's had a long journey. They've gone from, a cold climate to a warm climate, to a humid climate to a less humid climate, and they need to adjust. Same thing with your lyre. Letting your lyre rest for about a day before you actually tune it for the first time will give it a chance to re-acclimatize to whatever climate you are in, more humid, less humid, warmer, colder, and will be better for your lyre in the long run. It can be hard. I know the first time I got one of my lyres, I wanted to tune it right away. It holds its tune better as well if you give it a little bit more time. So try to be patient. And let's go take a look at the piano for a little bit more of a breakdown on how we will tune our lyres. So the piano is made up of half tones and whole tones. So any two notes next to each other are half tones, and any two notes with one note in between are a whole tone. The most common ways to tune a lyre are G, A, B, C, D, E, although actually an octave lower, so it's actually, this is how my lyre is tuned. The other most common way to tune the lyre is C, D, E, F, G, A, we break that down, it's a whole step, half step, whole step. It's exactly the same, and anything else that is done the same, whole step, half step, whole step. Yes, obviously I did not pass piano lessons on how to do fingering on my scales. And so anywhere you do whole step, half step, whole step, it will work. If you look at the modern lyre, the traditional tuning is, it's D, E, G, A, B, D, E, which is a pentatonic scale. The easiest way to understand a pentatonic scale is by looking at the black notes. You have 2, 3, and then 2. And so the pentatonic scale, penta meaning 5, is the 5 black notes on the piano with the bottom 2 repeated at the top. For the purpose of our lyre course, we are going to use the more historical tuning because that will work better with the 6-string and 7-string and allow us to show both for our different courses. And so if you are doing a G, your G scale ends with an E, and the bottom note would be a low E. So it'll be 1 octave lower than the top note. In a C, it would be a low A. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, be sure to put them in the comments, but we will go through the rest of it on the lyre. So now that we know how to tune our lyres, what notes we're going to use, this is my tuner. Some people will say tune to your ear. If you want to, that's great. I find that lyres are way more finicky than guitars. When you tune a guitar, which I've done many, many times, you can turn the tuning pegs quite a lot without having any adverse effects. To tune a lyre, you want to turn it like a fraction of an eighth of an inch at a time. So it's way, way less. If you turn it too much, it'll go way out of tune. So because of that, I find using a tuner is best. Honestly, I usually use the one on my phone, but because I'm recording this, I'm not going to. So, Anglo-Saxon and historical lyres generally have the pegs at the top. Sometimes they're on the top, sometimes they're on the back. Depends on who's made it and what the model is that they use. When you play it, it will tell you first off what it is. Mine is a little bit G sharp right now, so I'm going to want to turn it down. When you are tuning it lower, it's going to put less tension into the string. So the best way to do it is tune it down below what you're going to do. See, I'm just barely turning it. Now it's gone all the way down to an E. And now I'm going to want to tune it back up to a G. And that's an F sharp. Tiny little turn. That's a very sharp G. If it's just a little bit above, you can actually pull some of the tension out just by putting a little bit of tension on it. And then when it turns green, you know it is in tune. So we'll go through the next one. The next one is A. I've actually tuned my lyre up a little bit recently because a song I was playing was just a little bit too low for me, and so I tuned it up a half of its note. A lot of lyres do have tuning keys for when you're, for when you're tuning them, even on these ones. So if you are currently in the market for a lyre, try to find one that has a tuning key, because it makes your life a lot easier. As you will see, C sharp, I'm looking for a B, G, A, B. The ones without keys are super finicky and a little bit harder to tune, but handmade with love, and that's obviously worth something too. As you can see, it's just moving it back and forth until you get it just right. And you can watch me fiddle with this for a bit. There we go. And so that is historical Anglo-Saxon lyre without a key. Our modern lyre has a tuning key, so we will use that. And again, we are starting on an E. It's just a little tiny bit flat. It's good to turn it down like 1/8 of an inch. Try and, so that you're pulling the tension back out. And then I'll put it all the way up to an E, which is where I want it. So for this, you put it on, just fits right on there, just like a little screwdriver and a screw. And you just play with it until you have it all tuned correctly. Depending on what you are playing it for, you may be a little more or less picky about exactly how in tune it is. Again, if you're playing with somebody else, it makes a much bigger difference. If you're playing by yourself just for fun, it depends on how good of an ear you have. Because if you have a really good ear, it's going to, or if somebody in your family or your household has a really good ear, it may bother them a lot more than it bothers you. You can see this is much simpler than without the key. But it's exactly the same. Theory. Tuning it. we go. So that is how you tune the lyre. Some of them have the smaller pegs, which are nice for tuning. Some of them have the more traditional pegs, which would be a lot easier to tune as well if you have the key. But if not, then it can be a little bit finicky. If you have any questions, be sure to ask below in the comments. So I hope you have found this helpful. And if you have any questions, be sure to let us know. And if you're interested in learning more about how to play the lyre, definitely check out our links in the description. And subscribe, like, and share to find out more.